Well, I've done it again just over 2 weeks ago on the 29th of September. I said this. I think Adam Wharton would be a great signing. I think City should be looking at someone like Elliot Andersen, actually. I think he suits. If anyone's watched Elliot Andersen play at Nottingham Forest, you know full well what a baller he is. He's an absolute sensational midfielder with so much versatility. He can play the full spine, which is a rarity in this day and age. Versatility is straight up Pep Guardiola's street. You know, a defensive midfielder, he's predominantly a central midfielder, but he can do the defensive role. If anything, he has more on the defensive side of the game than the attacking side of the game. I think he's only got one assist this season. Goals are something that's missing from Elliot Andersen's game, but that's because he's, like I said, he's more of a defensive midfielder. In his head, he reads the game incredibly well, but he's got that ability to go forward, which suits us. That suits us because we need a defensive midfielder that can do that. Exactly that. So I would be looking at Elliot Andersen. Come on, I don't mean to blow my own trumpet a little bit, but I do seem to get it right quite often. I think someone's watching this channel. Either, there's multiple situations here, Either Pep watches my channel. No, sorry, that's just not happening. No world where that happens. These reporters are watching my channel and using my suggestions as fuel to write their articles. Probably that one. I'm just getting incredibly lucky time and time again. Yeah, maybe I know what I'm talking about. I think is the way I would phrase it. That's the way I'd phrase it. Or I've got some secret sources. Not like Big Mac sauces, like informants. Not like I know the recipe to McDonald's secret sauce or anything like that. No, informants is what I'm talking about. Maybe. No, I don't. But I do think it's a fascinating concept. Manchester City, of course, may need to look into that midfield market because Rodri is... There's question marks over his sustainability. Going forward, his injury record is becoming a concern for me. And that was the whole purpose of that video. And I rattled off some targets at the end of it, of which I've very much focused on Elliot Andersen. Obviously, there's the likes of Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton as well. But before we get into it and actually have a look at their qualities, this video is sponsored by OK Jersey. Wearing your team's colours is getting more and more expensive, with official club merchandise costing more than £80 per kit. And that's not even for the same kit that the players wear. If you can afford to splash this sort of cash every year, then all the power to you. But with the cost of living crisis, wearing your team's colours or seeing your little ones proudly doing the same for an affordable price is the reason you should check out OK Jersey. Top quality replica kits for unbelievable prices, all the latest kits, retro kits that even have the official sponsors from back in the day, and even some wild fan concept kits. Check out OK Jersey and use the code TYP08 for 8% off your order with worldwide free shipping for orders over €50. So I'm sticking to my guns. I think Elliot Andersen would be absolutely brilliant for Manchester City. I really do. I think he's a jack of all trades. Have a look at this. This is his stats being compared to all of the midfielders in the big 5 European leagues in the last 365 days. Impressive. Very impressive. Very, very good there from Elliot Andersen. I mean, all-rounder. That's the one thing I did say. Prior to looking to the stats, it was kind of obvious. You just need to look at the number of goals that he's scored. There's a few areas there that are dipping a little bit. Obviously, goals is something that's missing from his game, and I don't think we should be coming into this or to expecting a signing like Elliot Andersen to be providing goals for Manchester City. Can't see that. His pass completion rate is in the 31%, but that's still in the 80s, which isn't too bad. I think he would want to up that. In terms of being in a Pep Guardiola side, that's one area that I think Pep Guardiola would ask him to up his game and maybe play a little bit more simpler passes because, you know, being in the sides that he's been in recent times, obviously an England shirt as well recently, they are a little bit more direct. Obviously at Forest as well, a bit more direct rather than possession-based football. So you're going to have a lower pass percentage because you are therefore taking a riskier pass. I still think there's some fantastic stats there. Absolutely sensational all round. I mean, the carries in particular, successful take-ons as well in the top 4% of all midfielders you can see there. Brilliant. And defensively, I mean, There's not much to his game that he can't do. And bearing in mind, this is a 22-year-old. I think this is a no-brainer. I think there are some people who are concerned out there of, one, the English tax, but we need to think about that going forward in terms of the English quota. We need to consider that. Bear that in mind. Rodri is, he's entering his 30s soon. I think it's this year, in fact, or maybe going into 2026. He'll turn 30. So, again, with that in mind, he's also picking up injuries. I know this what the most recent one is supposed to be a very small one. It's just that concern that I've got for me. And Real Madrid is snooping around, apparently, for Rodri, if rumours are to be believed. If City aren't able to get Rodri tied down to a new contract. Question for you, do you want to tie down Rodri to a new contract, and for how long for? Because I think that would be the end of his career. I think we will be getting the end of Rodri, not peak Rodri. I think we're currently now, possibly the next year onwards, we would expect probably a bit more peak Rodri. I would expect that going into 30 and then 31. Because speed and, is never, and athleticism hasn't been a major factor in his game. He's not like shy of athleticism, of course he's not. But I'm just concerned about the injury record and the fact that if it was a contract that was 4 or 5 years, you are getting the end of Rodri, effectively. So regardless of whether we tie him down to a new contract or not, we need to start thinking about the process of thinking for life after Rodri. Elliot Andersen at 22 years old, a complete jack of all trades, all-rounder, and there is that running the risk of jack of all trades but master of none. I would argue he is a master of quite a few trades there. I mean, shot-creating actions in the top 91, in the top 9% rather, and successful take-ons, brilliant numbers. And then, of course, there's Adam Wharton. I know a lot of people want to focus on Adam Wharton. I think some people say get him as well. I'm not sure we could get both players. And certainly if we're tying down Rodri to a contract, maybe if we were to let Rodri go and he does go to Real Madrid in the future, then yeah, it makes sense to have both of these players, and probably letting someone from Rodri's ability going to Real Madrid, you would expect a reasonable amount of cash to come our way, in which case a lot of that can be put towards signing Adam Wharton and Elliot Andersen. Whether you want both of them, because I do think they're two different players. And then you've got to think about the fact that obviously we've got Reinders and Foden's now playing a lot deeper in this current system. And in particular with Rodri, there is no world where we keep Rodri and sign Elliot Andersen and Adam Wharton. I think there's only one of them if we keep Rodri. But let's have a look at Adam Wharton's stats, for example. So these stats here are very, very different to what we've seen from Elliot Andersen. Lots of areas that are in the red, So there is a huge excelling area, though, in creation, shot creating actions, top 7%. Expected assisted goals in the top 1% of midfielders, which is absolutely fantastic. Interceptions is really good as well. I think he is more, I said that in my most recent video back on the 29th of September, that I think Adam Wharton's a bit more forward thinking, a little bit more on the creative side. I then ran to the stats for this video and was thankfully backed up. So my eyes did not deceive me. But I do believe that there's two different styles of players here, and I think Adam Wharton could play defensive midfielder. I just think Elliot Andersen's got that more well-rounded package, and I think he's a bit further into his development compared to Adam Wharton. Don't forget that both of these players are contracted until 2029. So you've got to consider the money that will have to be spent on these two players, with the report suggesting it's supposed to be 75 million for Elliot Andersen. I would expect it to be around that, maybe closer to 80 for Adam Wharton, possibly more. Depends on the circumstances, depends on the necessities of the club we're buying from, and how much that player twists the arm of the chairman. Marinakis as well, you've got to deal with him at Forest, so 75 million might not be enough. We saw how they had to deal with the Morgan Gibbs-White situation. So that was not an easy deal for anybody, and guess what? He's still a Nottingham Forest player. So they've done incredibly well to sign Elliot Andersen, kind of forced Newcastle into that situation. They were forced because of PSR, but there is clearly a world-class player, or at least blossoming into a world-class player here. Probably not world-class as of right now, but on his way. And I still believe that Manchester City should be thinking of life after Rodri. There are other names that you guys think we should be targeting. Carlos Baleba is one. I'm a big fan of him. Big fan of him. I would probably still lean more towards Elliot Andersen in recent times, in particular. Recency bias would definitely suggest that for me, because I think he's been fantastic lately. He looks so good. But what do you think, Blues? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one. This is